Hey guys, Under the Stars, and we're going to talk about rain today. What you're watching is a video by Rihanna called Umbrella. You'll know what all this is going to mean very, very soon. Now, we're going to talk about The Rain Man, and I have not seen this movie in years, but I can already tell you it will be full of occult language. This was far before the awakening we are now experiencing in this reality. So let's talk about the rain. Rihanna, who you just saw, was born on February 20th, 1988. She is 26 years old. And a strange thing happens. In 1926, that was 88 years ago. Again, I'll say that again. Rihanna was born on February 20th, 1988. She is 26 years old. When you take 1926, that was 88 years ago. Now the 220 is very important. February 20th. 2 times 20 is 40. And it says in Genesis 7:12, the rain was on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. Now we've done a lot of work on the fact that Jesus was 40 years old when he died. Also, the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. Jesus was tempted for 40 days. A child is in the womb for 40 weeks before being born after the last menstruation. Now, going back to Rihanna's birthday, it says in Genesis 2:6. Again, she is 26 years old. It says, for the God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. There was no rain in the original plan until the flood, in which God caused it to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. The Bible tells us who the ruler of the air is. The prince of the power of the air, it says here, and that is the devil. Now, to atone for all this rain that was not God's original intention, he created the rainbow that can only be seen from 42 degrees. 42 is that God number again that we've been talking about. And in fact, an 84-degree angle is required to get a complete view of the whole arc of the rainbow. And that's where we get the number 84. Lots of very cryptic movies from 1984. And this is the spectrum of the rainbow. It just so happens that all of the colors of light are fit into a 42-degree angle as well, as you can see here. And everything I'm talking about I've covered on previous videos that go into far more detail. So where does that bring us to? 2/20, February 20th, the date that Rihanna was born, is 40. Now, we just had this video that we watched by Elvis. And Elvis made this very cryptic video called Intolerant that's all about milk, cows, nuts, stars in the sky, an umbrella, and they even have these 3 men shaped as a pyramid. You'll see this cow sitting inside of an actual umbrella. Now remember all of these elements that I'm talking to you about right now, because they're going to be repeated as I decode this. There's the cow with the umbrella, and then in the very end they show her in a wheat field here. You saw a wheat field, and then of course we've got them shaped as pyramids, 3 of them in fact. And at the very end of this video, they rub nuts all over themselves. And those are peanuts. Now, got a lot of flack for this. Why? Because this is the goddess Nut from Egypt. And she was often depicted as a cow and seen as an umbrella over the sky. And she was the harvest goddess of wheat. Every single element that you saw in that video matches this goddess. All of the same imagery. She was even shown as, they talk about the god of the air. Nut, goddess of the sky, was supported by Shu, the god of the air. We just talked about who the ruler of the air was. And she was seen as a canopy of stars. Every single element fitting in with exactly what we just saw in that video. But no one can believe it because it seems so out of this world. So where does that bring us? That brings us to the Rain Man, which we will decode now. Let's take a look. And right off the bat, we have a 1988 film in the Rain Man, and they cite a 1949 Buick Roadmaster convertible. Now the Buick Roadmaster started in 1936. We know that Jesus died in 36 AD. But what's even more peculiar is that they named this first model 40, Buick Series 40, and Jesus died at 40 years old. So already we have some very overt references. Let's get into the film. And right off the bat, in the opening scene, we see the numbers on the Lamborghini all adding up to 44. And the Lamborghini Countach you just saw made its debut 43 years ago in 1971. Now Lamborghini is the bull, and of course we know who the bull is. And 1963 is when they were established, one day before Halloween, as you can see here. Now, again, 36 AD is when Jesus was crucified. They gained wide acclaim in 1966, the same year that the Beatles had their last concert. Listen as Tom Cruise talks about the EPA.
In the car in my business 11 days ago. Another collateral, for Christ's sake. I am holding him off with a whip and a chair.
I understand that. I know delivery is way overdue.
But fucking EPA. The whole world is choking on smog, and they're going to correct the situation by keeping my 4 cars off the road?
Well, of course.
Bobby Collectibles.
Well, have you tried cash? How much can one of these EPA guys earn in a week, huh?
The EPA was started 44 years ago in 1970. Listen for the Barbados.
Come on.
I wouldn't do that, sir, until you talk to Mr. Babbitt personally. A number for him? No, he's on the road just now.
She wants you to call him immediately.
Charlie.
Just tell him I'm connected to Barbados, arriving at 1:30 a.m. Can he leave a number?
Barbados. Rihanna is from Barbados. So we have a 1988 film, the year Rihanna was born. The very year she was born. And they mention Barbados, the place she was born. And her name encodes the word rain in it. You can't make this up, you guys. Tom Cruise says connecting in Barbados at 1:30. And Rihanna was 300 days old when this film released. 1:30, 300. This license plate adds up to 42. Again, that's the God number, the rain number as well, the rainbow, the angle. 2 plus 7 plus 6 plus 9 plus 8 plus K, which is 11. You also saw Ohio on the license plate, and Ohio tops out at the 42nd parallel latitude on the map. Here you'll see 55. Remember, 3755 is the year that Jesus was born in the Hebrew calendar. There's the 55 there. Listen to the 88 reference. Right here, listen.
This car my whole life. Only drove it once. It's a 1949 Buick Roadmaster convertible. Only 8,000 production models made. Straight 8. Fireball 8.
8.
It's the first full year of the Dynaflow transmission.
Now, Tom Cruise is literally covered in AIDS. He was born on July 3rd, one day before Independence Day. And Independence Day happened in 1776. Half of 1776 is 888. We just heard him say 888 about the car a few seconds ago. And he was born in 1962, and there's that year again. 1962 was 26 years before 1988, and those people born in 1988 are now 26 years old, which is Rihanna, the Rain Woman. Let's continue. And Dustin Hoffman, the other star of this film, is literally covered in AIDS now as well. Now in the Hebrew calendar, it is the year 5775, okay? And Dustin Hoffman is now 77 years old, but more importantly, he was born on 8/8/1937, and of course, 37 AD is the first eclipse after Jesus' death that happened on December 25th, Christmas Day. Listen to the dialogue.
That's a classic he'd say. It commands respect. It's not for children. 10th grade, I'm
10th grade.
16 years old.
16 years old. 10, 16. That's 9/11 upside down. Listen.
For once, I bring home a report card and it's almost all A's.
Almost all A's. A is 1. That's all 11s.
I go to my old man. Can I take the car out?
I definitely know this car. It's 1949 Buick Roadmaster, straight 8, Fireball 8. Only 8,095 production models. Dad lets me drive slow on the driveway, but not on Monday. Definitely not on Monday.
Who's your dad?
Sanford Babbitt.
Sanford Babbitt?
10961 Beach Crest.
1970, 44 years ago. This is crazy, you guys. Watch.
Why? Why? It's his way of dealing with you touching things. His books and stuff first.
So he memorized who's on first.
Yeah, that among other things.
Raymond. Ted Kluzewski.
Kozuski.
Kluzewski.
Kluzewski. Ted Kluzewski. Born on September 10th. That's 9/11. And he died on March 29th, 1988. And again, that's my birthday. Pretty creepy stuff, you guys. Died at 63 years old. 36 AD was when Christ died. So, Ted Kluzewski's birth and death and the age he died, all of them encode Christ. 9/11, Christ was born. March 29th, he was crucified. Or the evening of his crucifixion was March 29th. And Christ died in 36 AD. So it has everything in this man's life. Now, curiously, he was dead before this film released. We're going to end part 1 here, you guys. We're only 22 minutes into the film, and we've uncovered all this. So I'll continue this on part 2. Take care and be safe.